Most people think the only way to get rich these days is through crypto or the latest flashy online trends. What if I told you that a growing number of entrepreneurs, myself included, are making hundreds of thousands of pounds by tapping into a traditional industry that's currently being transformed? I'm talking about property. More specifically, 3 key factors that are helping push landlords towards Airbnb and why this shift is creating one of the most underrated profitable business opportunities out there right now: Airbnb management. If you don't know me, my name's Joost. I started my Airbnb business at 20. By the age of 21, I was earning enough for both me and my mum to quit our 9-to-5 jobs. Now, at 23, I make over £100,000 a month through a combination of rent-to-rents and properties I manage for clients. And in this video, I'm going to break down 3 powerful trends that are driving landlords away from traditional renting and into the Airbnb space. Before we dive in, here's a quick explanation of what Airbnb management is. You find landlords who don't want the hassle of managing properties and short-term lets themselves. You list their property on platforms like Airbnb and Booking.com, handle bookings, guests, and cleaning. And in return, you take a cut of the revenue, usually between 15 and 20%. So if a property brings in £4,000 a month, you are earning between £600 to £800 a month. This strategy has changed everything in my business. While we used to mainly focus on rent-to-rents, for that required a lot of upfront capital. Airbnb management, on the other hand, has almost no startup costs. And since implementing it, we've seen our monthly revenue grow from over £50,000 to £100,000 a month plus. Now, let's get into the 3 factors that are causing this shift and how you can take advantage of it right now. Factor 1, it's simply the economy. In the property market right now in the UK, the government are squeezing smaller time landlords by introducing intense regulation like the Renters Reform Bill for landlords that never intended to be property managers. They just wanted to have a buy-to-let, invest and make some profit. And this legislation is going to have a direct impact on the average landlord. But the indirect, inflation. Governments tackle inflation by interest rates. When interest rates go up, so do mortgage rates, making it even more miserable for landlords as their costs go up and up and up. Few people have been smart enough to capitalize and revolutionize the way properties get managed. Traditionally, most letting agents and estate agents have managed properties, filled them with tenants and took care of it. But now it's just not enough. Landlords are scraping by. They need to make more money. But now with Airbnb, there is a small corner of entrepreneurs that are enticing landlords to Airbnb, and landlords are able to make 2 to 3 times more profit than they're used to. And these entrepreneurs, they're making anything over at least £600 per property, and they never usually have just one. Entrepreneurs in Airbnb management businesses are usually managing tens, if not hundreds of properties. Here's how they get them. When contacting landlords, they press on their pain points. They mention how traditional renting is falling off a cliff, and Airbnb management is their way out. This is how thousands of landlords are turning to the Airbnb model, and these management companies are lapping up all the money that's coming their way. Because to be frank, no one really knows this is happening. Factor 2, the profit margins are so good. Let's talk about the opportunity that literally no one is taking seriously right now. I've mentioned this, but it's worth diving into properly. Right now, there is a massive gap in the market, and hardly anyone for some reason is filling it. You'd think with how popular Airbnb is these days, more people would be jumping on it, right? But here's the weird part. Most traditional estate agents think Airbnb is nonsense. Genuinely, they think it's risky, they think it's a fad, or it's just too much work. Why? Because they're stuck in the old ways and the traditional model. They're comfortable collecting their 10% management fee on long-term rentals, and that's it. That's their whole business. Nothing ambitious, they just rinse and repeat. But let's really break that down. Let's say a letting agent rents out a flat for £2,000 a month. They've got a 10% management cut, which is £200. That's not exactly impressive, especially when you factor in overheads such as staff, office rent, maintenance, etc. And for the landlord, after mortgage payments, maintenance, insurance, maybe agency fees, they're walking away with what? Maybe 300, 400 quid? Sometimes, if that. Some landlords are even losing money on their buy-to-lets. So both the agent and the landlord are basically making pennies and scraps. And yet they're still choosing and clinging on to this model when there's better models out there. Now here's where it gets interesting. Letting agents dominate property management. I'm talking about 95% of landlords in the UK still do long-term and use letting agents. They haven't even considered short-term lets like Airbnb. That's still 95% of the market that's operating like it's in 2005. And that's exactly where the gap is. Because those landlords, they're sitting on gold mines, they just don't know it yet. Most of them have never run the figures on short-term letting. They have no idea what kind of cash flow they could actually operate and generate. They've been told it's too risky, it's too hands-on, or it's not worth the hassle, all by the same agents who are charging them 10% and have a vested interest in keeping things the way they are. But here's the kicker. Airbnb management companies can charge anywhere from 15 to 20%, not 10. So yeah, landlords are paying double the fee, but there's a reason why they don't care, because they're making 2 to 3 times more profit, sometimes even 4 to 5. So let's go back to that £2,000 a month flat. On a long-term let, they're getting £2,000 a month gross. On Airbnb, that same property could pull in even £4,000 or £5,000 a month, depending on the area, the season, and how well it's managed. After even a 20% management fee and a few extra running costs and bills, they're still walking away with 2 to 3 times more profit than they were making with a traditional tenancy. Landlords aren't stupid. When you show them the full picture, the numbers, the earning potential, the real case studies, it becomes obvious. It's not a risk, it's not a hassle, it's just a smarter strategy. There is a gap in this market. This is the opportunity. Most landlords are still being fed outdated advice. Most letting agents aren't adapting, and most of the market is completely untouched by the modern short-term letting solutions. If you're someone who can step in, show landlords the numbers, take care of the operation, give them peace of mind, you're stepping into a market where the demand is just growing. The competition is low and the margins are high. That's the kind of gap you only see once every few years. Factor 3, it's hands-off for landlords. Let's talk about one of the biggest objections landlords have when they first hear about Airbnb. I don't have the time to deal with guests. I don't want to be messaging people at midnight. I don't want to be handling cleaning or worrying about key handovers, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. And you know what? They're absolutely right. They shouldn't be doing any of that. But here's what most landlords don't realize. They do not have to. Thanks to technology that is available right now through software, etc., Airbnb management can be done 100% hands-off for the landlord. It's just like with a traditional letting agent. The difference, they're making 2 to 5 times more money. Now let me break it down. We're in a new era, and people who take advantages are the smart ones. Automation, AI, smart software, and all these tools are doing are replacing hours of manual work every week. Now a landlord can hand over their keys, get better results without lifting a finger. Let's start with Guesty. This is the central nervous system of a modern Airbnb management company. It handles all the guest communications automatically. For inquiry and checkout messages, everything is already preset, customized, and timed. Guests get welcomed with messages, info, Wi-Fi codes, check-in instructions, all without the landlord or the management company even having to touch the phone. Then there's softwares like Turno. This is one of the lifesavers of operations. It connects directly to your calendar, automatically assigns cleaners to every single booking. The cleaners get notified, complete the checklist, and upload photos of the finished job. And you even have a system which pays them. No back and forth, no texting, just clean turnovers on autopilot. And pricing, that's where PriceLab comes in. This is a software that adjusts the nightly rates automatically every single day. It uses data from the entire area, other listings, local demand, events, seasonality to make sure the property is always priced at the right point. No undercharging, no guesswork, just more money and consistent revenue. All this means is that the landlord doesn't actually have to manage everything. No late night messages, no cleaner no-shows, no spreadsheets, no dealing with keys or guest reviews. Everything is handled by the management company. Now, this management company is powered by smart systems, not just manual labor. So now landlords get the best of both worlds, higher income and complete peace of mind with zero involvement. Compare that to the traditional model. A letting agent charges 10%. The landlord makes very little profit and still ends up answering emails about boilers and broken blinds. With Airbnb, they make more money and have a better lifestyle because someone else is running it properly using technology that makes it smooth, reliable, and scalable. This is why Airbnb is so attractive at the moment. Landlords are happily being pushed towards it. But most importantly, more and more landlords are being pushed to Airbnb, but no one is there to help them. This is why a small group of entrepreneurs are making hundreds of thousands of pounds by fulfilling some of the supply. But the truth is, this is a secret migration that no one talks about. Landlords are throwing these properties at management companies. For example, we got handed over 16 properties by a developer. Because they were struggling. This is why I believe Airbnb management is the best business model to get into in 2025. So if you want to learn more, watch this video and I'll show you how to get started in Airbnb management for absolutely free.